नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतानी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. Today we will sing this Kirtan Vibhavari Sesha. Today's Bhagavatam discussion is around killing of demon Putana. So before we start the discussion, we will do Kirtan. Uh, Vibhavari Sesha Loka Pravesha Nidrachari Yuto Jiva Vibhavari Sesha Aloka Pravesha Nidrachari Yuto Jiva बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हय ग्रीवा बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हय ग्रीवा नरसिंह वामन श्रीमधुसूदन ब्रजेन्द्र नन्दन श्यामा पूतन घातन कैतव सातन जय दशरथि रामा विभावरी शेषालोका प्रवेशा नेत्राचारी युतो जीवा यशोदा दूलाला गोविंद गोपाल वृंदावना पुरंदरा गोपी प्रिया जन राधिका रमण भुवन सुंदर पारा विभावरी शेषा आलोक प्रवेशा निद्राचारी युतो जीवा रावणान्तकर मगन तत्पर गोपीजन वस्त्रहारी ब्रजेरराकला गोपवृन्दाफला चित्तहरि वंशीधारी विभावरी शेषा आलोक प्रवेशा निद्राचारी युतो जीवा योगीन्द्र बंदन श्रीनंदनंदन ब्रज जना भयहारी नवीन नीरद रूप मनोहर मोहन वंशी बिहारी विभावरी शेषा आलोक प्रवेशा निद्राचारी युतो जीवा यशोदानंदन वंशानी सोदन निकुंजरस विलासी कदंब कानन रस परायण वृंदाविपिन निवासी विभावरी शेषा आलोक प्रवेशा निद्राचारी युतो जीवा आनंदवर्धन प्रेमानिकेतन फूल सराजोजक कामा गोपांगना चित्ता विनोदन समस्त गुण गण धामा विभावरी शेषा आलोक प्रवेशा निद्राचारी युतो जीवा जमुना जीवन केली परायण मानस चंद्र चकोरा नाम सुधारस कहु कृष्णायस राखो वचन मन मोरा विभावरी शेषा आलोक प्रवेश नेत्राचारी ओटो जीवा बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हय ग्रीवा बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हय ग्रीवा बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हयग्रीवा. Translation. The night has come to an end and the light of dawn is entering. O Jiva soul, arise and give up your sleep. Chant the holy names of Lord Hari, who is the giver of liberation, the enemy of the demon, the supreme enjoyer, the all attractive one, and the horse headed incarnation Hayagriva. Lord Hari Krishna incarnated as the half man, half lion Nrsimha. He appeared as a dark Brahmana named Upendra and is the killer of the Madhu demon. He is the beloved son of the king of Raja, Nanda Maharaj, and is blackish in complexion. He is the slayer of the Putana witch and the destroyer of the demon Kaitava. All glories to Lord Hari, who appeared as Lord Rama, the son of King Dasaratha. He is the darling of Mother Yashoda, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land, and spiritual senses, and the protector of the cows. He is the lord of the Vrindavan forest, the gopis beloved, the lover of Radhika, and the most beautiful personality in all the worlds. As Ramachandra, he brought about the end of the demonic king. Ravana, as Krishna, he stole the older gopis' butter. He stole the younger gopis' clothes while they were bathing in the Yamuna. He is a cowherd boy of Raja and the protector of the cowherd boys. He steals the hearts of all and always holds a flute. Lord Krishna is worshipped by the best of yogis and is the son of Nanda. He removes all the fears of the inhabitants of Raja. He is the color of a fresh rain cloud and his form is enchanting. When he wanders about playing his flute, he looks very charming. He is the son of Yashoda and the killer of King Kamsa, and he sports in the rasa dance amongst the groves of Raja. Krishna engages in this rasa dance underneath the Kadamba trees and he resides in the forest of Vrindavana. He increases the ecstasy of his devotees. He is the reservoir of all love and is the transcendental Cupid who uses his flowered arrows to increase the loving desires of the gopis. He is the pleasure of the gopis' hearts and the abode of all wonderful qualities. Lord Krishna is the life of the river Yamuna. He is always absorbed in amorous pastimes and he is the moon of the gopis' minds which are like the chakora birds that subsist only upon moonlight. O mind, obey these words of mine, and sing the glories of Sri Krishna in the form of these holy names, which are full of nectarian mellows. Hare Krishna. Now we'll start with the prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिनि नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गो ब्राह्मण हिताय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे। जय। So, today we will actually start discussing. Today we will start discussing from the 10th canto, chapter 6. Chapter 6 is actually titled "The Killing of the Demon Putana," and this is a very interesting pastime of the Supreme Lord, where he kills the demon Putana. And after the demon Putana was killed, um, she got the position of a nurse or mother in the spiritual world. So this pastime has a lot of hope for practicing devotees, as to why Putana got opportunity to feed the Supreme Lord, uh, when came as Sri Krishna, and why is that he got the position of a nurse or mother in the spiritual world? What is that Putana has done, or what is that? What we can understand, though she was a demon, and she came from the objective. She came with an objective of actually killing Krishna. So that was the objective she had, and that's the reason she came to see Krishna. But what happened? So it is said that Putana, demon Putana, was in the current birth. She appeared as a demon, and she was asked by Kamsa to actually kill Krishna. And she was very notorious for actually killing small children, right? So she was very notorious. But in her previous birth, she was related to King Bali. She was related to Bali Maharaj. Some Shastras say she was daughter of Bali Maharaj, and some say she was sister of Bali Maharaj. She was then called as Ratnamala. So this Ratnamala, when she saw Vamana, when she saw Vamana, when the Lord appeared in his dwarf form to Kashyapa Muni. So she saw Vamana and she was very much instantly, she was very much drawn to his beautiful form and she was very much attracted to him. She wanted to shower her love. She was filled with Vatsalya Bhav and she wanted to shower her love on Vaman Dev. And as a result, she had this longing to actually love the Lord or uh, show her affection as a mother, right? So and but what happened during the course of what happened with Bali Maharaj is that since Bali Maharaj had to actually he in charity had to give up everything and um, he, and this kind of angered her a lot and this kind of angered her a lot and she then later on had this feeling of actually killing Vamandev actually from the feeling of loving and she actually harbored a feeling of hatred towards the Supreme Lord. So that feeling of hatred also uh, she continued to like have as Putana uh, or she exhibited as Putana and she came to specially kill Krishna. In the earlier verses of the chapter, which were discussed, uh, there is a description. There's a beautiful description of how she came and she entered the household of Nanda Maharaj undetected, or she was not stopped. Not may not be undetected, but she was not stopped, and she continued to she tried to feed Krishna, and how Krishna killed her. So there's a wonderful narration around that, and this particular discussion that we are going to hear today is after Putana was killed by the Supreme Lord. And during this period, while Putana had come to the household of Nanda Maharaj was also away from home. He had actually gone to Mathura and and he also happens to meet Vasudev, father of Krishna. So Vasudev, knowing uh, what knowing Kamsa's plans fully and how Kamsa was terrified of his death by Krishna, who he actually like warns or gives a kind of a signal to Nanda Maharaj to be careful. Right, so it's a word of caution that Nanda Maharaj receives from Vasudev. And then Nanda Maharaj actually returns back, and in this particular section, we see he is able to understand, he is able to correlate whatever word of caution that Vasudev has given to him regarding the threats that they are going to face. Right, so that is what we see, and also what happened to Putana after she died, and what what the Vrajavasis did, what Mother Yashoda was thinking after Putana was killed, and she was everyone realized she's not the beautiful lady who came in disguise, but she's none. She's a demon. She's a demon called Putana. So this section is precisely a discussion around that. Okay. So I request someone to please read the translation and purport.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Translation. Meanwhile, all the cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj returned from Mathura, and when they saw on the way the gigantic body of Putana lying dead, they were struck with great wonder. Purport. Nanda Maharaj wondered maybe understood in various ways. First of all, the The cowherd men and men had never before see such a gigantic body in Vrindavan, and therefore they were struck with wonder. Then they began to consider whether such a body had come from whether it had dropped from the sky, or whether some by some mistake, or by the power of some mystic yogini they had come to some place and other than Vrindavan. They could not actually guess what had happened, and therefore they were struck with wonder. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, while the pastime was happening, while Putana came and she was killed, Nanda Maharaj and some of the cowherds men were not there, right? So, as they returned from Mathura and they came, they saw in Vrindavan they saw this huge body of Putana, right? Because after she died, she was lying there, and she had, as a demoness, she had a huge body, and she was lying there dead. So there was a lot of it wonder. What the experience was wonder, because they had never seen such a kind of sight, right? So it is it to see such a big demoness with such a gigantic body, and why she, and where did she come from? So these kind of thoughts they were getting, as to where did she come from? Did she come from the sky, because they have not seen her any time before, and what happened to her? So all these things kind of left them in a state of wonder. Yeah, and we'll see further what happens after that. Okay. Yeah, can someone read the translation and purport? Verse 32.
You continue, Mataji.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Translation. Nanda Maharaj and other Gopas exclaimed, my dear friend, you must know that what is this?
Anakadundubi.
Anakadundari. Vasudeva has become a great saint, or a master of many of mystic powers. Otherwise, how could he have foreseen this calamity and predicted it to us? Purport. This verse illustrates the difference between Kshatriyas and innocent Vaishyas. By studying the political situation, Vasudeva could see what would happen, whereas Nanda Maharaj, the king of the agriculturalist, could only guess that Vasudeva was a great saintly person and had developed mystic powers. Vasudeva actually had all mystic powers under his control. Otherwise, he could not have become a father of Krishna. But in fact, he foresaw the calamities in Braja by studying Kamsa's political activities, and thus warned Nanda Maharaj to take precautions. Although Nanda Maharaj thought that Vasudeva had predicted this incident through wonderful mystic powers. By mystic powers gained through the practice of Hatha Yoga, one can study the and understand the future.
Mm. So here, as they were stuck with wonder, and they were seeing this gigantic body of Putana, then Nanda Maharaj is telling from what he heard from Vasudeva, right? He was warned already by Vasudev that they could face some risks and dangers. So he says, how is that Vasudev is able to predict? Did he gain some powers, or he's become like some mystic powers, and did he become a saint? Otherwise, how could he foresee? So how could he tell what would happen in future, right? And that such a calamity will come, and how he is able to predict. So this is what Nanda Maharaj was telling the other gopas or cowherd men along with him. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport says how he explains how the Vaishyas, or like Nanda Maharaj was the king of the agriculturalists. So he's generally, that class is, they're very innocent. So they're very innocent. people. So out of innocence, he is thinking, is it because of the mystic powers that Vasudev gained, or he has become saint? So that is what Nanda Maharaj felt, right? So very simple-hearted, very full of innocence, right? And that's the mode of Nanda Maharaj, and that's how he perceived whatever was foretold by Vasudev. And on the other hand, Vasudev had information. He had an understanding because of the activities of Kamsa. He saw his death, and so as a result, he was taking steps to kill the sons of Devaki and Vasudev. And with all these steps, he thought these dangers will come about. And so it is from also understanding the political scenario, Vasudeva was able to predict. It is also said that it is not necessary, it is like it can be that um, it it can also be that Vasudev has, or he has mystic powers, because being the father, he has in his current um, form, he is actually the father of the Supreme Lord, right? As a result, he can have mystic powers, right? He can have mystic powers. He can control those mystic powers that can come very naturally to him because of his position as the father of the Supreme Lord, right? In this Leela. And so it is a possibility, but that is not exactly what Vasudev did. So it is coming from his experience, or his understanding of Kamsa's plans and intentions. Srila Prabhupada also says there is a possibility of getting mystic powers through practice of Hatha Yoga. So, mystic powers, one might not, whatever one might be, like they might not even be a devotee, but some mystic powers or siddhis can be, obtained by just, practicing Hatha Yoga, right? And when one gets those siddhis or those mystic powers, one can definitely see the future, right? So that is definitely possible, and so it is a possibility to have actually those mystic powers through Hatha Yoga. Okay, yeah, we'll continue. Text 33.
Next,
Does
Mataji,
any Yes, Prabhuji.
one question in the previous line that Prabhupada explains that because Vasudeva has mystic powers and Krishna was born. I did not understand that. Because he has mystic powers, that's why Krishna was born to him. Why did this statement came?
Yeah. So it is like this, Prabhuji. So uh, he had all those powers from because he Vasudeva and Devaki were parents to the Supreme Lord almost for three births, right? In three different avatars. So he had that kind of abilities to actually be the father of the Supreme Lord. Of course, it was out of their penance and austerity that they got that great fortune, and also. Uh, with that they also they are like very special and empowered beings, right? So that is why they are actually they could become parents of Krishna. So when Srila Prabhupada says Vasudev actually had all mystic powers under his control, otherwise he could not become the father of Krishna. My understanding is, Prabhuji, that uh, since he was a special and empowered being, that is why he could actually become the father of Krishna. Otherwise, he could not have become the father of Krishna. That is the understanding, Prabhuji. Is it better?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it clear?
Thank you, Mataji. No, yeah.
Yeah. Text 33. Does anyone want to read the translation and purport? Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Translation and yes, Prabhuji, please.
Yeah, translation. The inhabitants of Raja cut the gigantic body of Putana into pieces with the help of axes. Then they threw the pieces far away, covered them with wood and burn them to ashes. And purport. It is the practice that after a snake has been killed, its body is cut into various pieces for fear that it may come to life again simply by interacting with air. Merely killing a serpent is not sufficient. After it is killed, it must be cut to pieces and burned, and then the danger will be over. Putana resembled a great serpent, and therefore the cowherd men took the same precautions by burning her body to ashes.
Hare Krishna. So after they saw this gigantic body of Putana, so they wanted to actually mitigate the any kind of danger by leaving her like that, or kind of for her to come back to life for any reason. So Prabhupada says that like how a serpent is after being killed is actually burnt, cut into pieces, and burnt actually to actually ensure that the serpent does not come back to life and does not harm anyone. Similarly, Putana's gigantic body, all these Vrajavasis, they actually cut into small pieces, and after they cut into these pieces, then they actually burnt with the help of wood. They burnt them to ashes. These small pieces were burnt into ashes, so that they in future they don't have any threat, right? So um, to avoid any kind of danger risk, because she was a mighty demoness and who had clearly had the intention of harming the supreme lord. So everyone had understood, right? So she is there to harm, and already Nanda Maharaj had received a caution from Vasudev, so they have taken now all kinds of steps to mitigate this danger of Putana. Okay, next text. Text number 34. Does anyone want to read the translation purport?
Yeah, I can read Madhuri.
Sure, Prabhuji, thank you. Jai Hind.
Because of Krishna's having struck the breast of the Rakshasi Putana, when Krishna killed her, she was immediately freed from all the material contamination. Her sinful reactions automatically vanished, and therefore, when her gigantic body was being burned, the smoke emanating from her body was fragrant uh, like a aguru incense. Is it correct? Aguru incense.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Support. Uh, such are the effect of Krishna consciousness. If one somehow or other becomes Krishna conscious by applying this sense in the senses in the service of the Lord, one is immediately freed from the material contamination. Uh, what is it, Mati? Sorry, I cannot see.
Shunvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanai.
Okay. Hearing about the activities of Krishna is the beginning of purified life. Punya Stravana Kirtanaha. Simply by hearing and chanting, one becomes purified. Therefore, in discharging devotional services, Stravana Kirtana, hearing and chanting, is the most important. Then, with the purified senses, one begins to render services to the Lord. Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate. This is called bhakti. When Putana was somehow or other, directly or indirectly, induced to render some services to the Lord by feeding him with her breast, she was immediately purified. So much so that when her nasty material body was burned to ashes, it gave off the fragrance of aguru, the most arguably uh, scented herb. Scented herb. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what happened to even demon after being killed by Krishna? right? So what happens to the demon? So once these Rajvasis, they started burning the body of Putana. First, if any one of us burns anything, depending on what is being burnt, it is not generally normal things, normal objects like paper, wood and all. Generally, it is not very pleasant, pleasant kind of smoke or fragrance that is surrounded, right? But in case of Putana, they saw that when the smoke was coming out of burning her body, there was wonderful fragrance. This fragrance was like agaru incense was burning. So incense or agarbatti, right? When it is burnt, we offer to the Lord. When it is burnt, it gives wonderful fragrance. So when Putana's body is burning, it was giving this wonderful agaru incense fragrance. So, but why did that happen? Generally, um, it is not expected that burning material bodies, especially of such a demon, she was like a very notorious nasty demoness, and she had done very abominable acts, like killing small children, and for such a demon. When the body is being the material body is being burnt, fragrance was emanating. So Prabhupada says in the purport, but this is the effect of Krishna consciousness. So in Krishna consciousness, when we do our service, and when we apply our senses in the service of the Lord through Shravanam Kirtanam, by hearing and chanting the names of the Lord, one gets purified. And when one gets purified, and this is what is bound to happen, right? So one should actually be engaged in the service of the Lord, and engage their senses in the in devotional service, right? Engage the senses in the devotional service of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada emphasizes here the importance of Shravanam Kirtanam, right? When one hears and one chants, one gets gradually purified, one becomes purified. So, it's very simple process, right? Compared to many kinds of austerities or any other things from the previous yugas. In this yuga, the simple activities of hearing, attentively hearing, and attentively chanting, right, is very purifying. And Putana, as I mentioned, she had this desire to feed the Lord. She was filled with Vatsalya Bhav for a moment when she saw Vaman Dev, right? And here also, when she wanted to kill Krishna, also she devised a plan to actually feed him breast milk, like a mother would do, right? So she assumed the position of mother, though her intention was to kill the Lord, but she had some way or the other, she had rendered the service to the Lord as a mother, right? And then this actually qualifies her to be purified. This actually qualified her to actually attain the position of being a nurse or mother in the spiritual world. And so it is also clear indication for all of us while we hear this pastime, and also the how what the Vrajvasis experienced. This they When the body was being burned, they experienced this fragrance, right? The best of the fragrances, agru fragrance, they were experiencing. So this is indication of what happens for those who render some service to the Supreme Lord, right? Who have some little, even little kind of, devotional service rendered to the Lord. This is actually the result or consequence of that, right? So there is actually a lot of hope for all of us, who are maybe hustling, struggling. Not all days are good. Maybe not most of the days are really bad when it comes to our sadhana. When it comes to our spiritual practices, sometimes we are struggling to do services. Despite all these scenarios, whatever might be the reasons whatever might cause that situation where we are not able to do our best, or despite doing the best, it is still not what it has to be, right? Um, Shravanam Kirtanam is inattentive japa, still not able to hear as much, not able to prioritize bhakti sometimes. So, in spite of all this, this endeavor, just the endeavor of practicing devotional service is very pleasing to the Supreme Lord. Just the thought for Putana could actually give her such a benefit. So there is a lot of hope for all practicing devotees. To actually continue their sadhana, to improve their devotional service, devotional practices, because the Lord actually is very, very merciful. There is like unlimited mercy. There is we can't just estimate, or kind of give a number to how merciful the Lord is, that He will always be very merciful, and He's always very merciful, and He will remember these efforts and endeavors that we are putting in the devotional service, and these efforts we will go back to Him, back to Godhead. Okay, next text 35-36. Does someone want to read the translation and purpose?
Hare Krishna Prabhu Mataji. Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Chalairi.
Please,
I
Mataji.
will read. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Putana was always caring for the blood human children. One minute. Putana was always hankering for the blood of human children, and with that desire she came to kill Krishna. But because she offered her breast to the Lord, she attained the greatest achievement. What then is to be said of those who had natural devotion and affection for Krishna as mothers, and who offered him their breast to suck, or offered something very dear as a mother offers something to a child? Purport. Putana had no affection for Krishna. Rather, she was envious and wanted to kill him. Nonetheless, because with or without knowledge, she offered her best, she attained the highest achievement in life. But the offerings of devotees attracted to Krishna in parental love are always sincere. A mother likes to offer some to her child with affection and love. There is no question of envy. So here we can make a comparative study. If Putana could attain such an exalted position in spiritual life by neglectfully, enviously making an offering to Krishna, what is to be said of Mother Yashoda and the other gopis who served Krishna with such great affection and love, offering everything for Krishna's satisfaction? The gopis automatically achieved the highest perfection. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended the affection of the gopis either in maternal affection or in conjugal love as the highest perfection in life. Ramya kachid upasanam brajavadhu varjena ya kalpita. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So, Prabhupada says, it is actually it is just that momentary, or that kind of maternal love that Putana had briefly, even to kind of kill Krishna, that actually had no envy. It is actually one of the best kind of affection one can show is to the affection of a mother, right? So briefly, at least, she had that affection of mother, and she offered to breastfeed the Supreme Lord, and this actually helped her to achieve the highest achievement in life, that is to actually uh, go back to the Supreme Lord and take the position of a nurse or mother in the Supreme world, in for the Supreme Lord, right? So this is the affection of mother, wherein without envy, and it is the highest form of affection. So if this is what Putana had achieved, Prabhupada says, what about Mother Yashoda and Gopis, who were constantly, who had completely uh, they had their complete focus, complete efforts to please the Lord, and they were full of maternal affection. So these Mother Yashoda and Gopis, they are the most exalted, right? So that is why even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended that one should the highest form of affection for the Supreme Lord is the affection the Gopis had, either in Vatsalya or Madhurya Bhav, right? In the maternal affection, parental affection, or conjugal love, right? So that kind of affection actually, if one develops to the Supreme Lord, it can be said as the perfection of life. So it is the highest form of affection to the Lord, and it is actually you know recommended by the Supreme Lord himself when he appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, yeah. We'll move on to the next verse, 37, 38. Yeah. Does anyone want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. May I read?
Please, Mataji, thank you.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always situated within the core of the heart of the pure devotee, and he is always offered prayers by such worshipable personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, because Krishna embraced Putna's body with great pleasure and sucked her breast. Although she was a great witch, she attained the position of a mother in the transcendental world and thus achieved the highest perfection. What then is to be said of the cows whose nipples Krishna sucked with great pleasure and who offered their milk very jubilantly with affection, exactly like that of a mother? Purport. These verses explain how devotional service rendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether directly or indirectly, knowingly or unknowingly, becomes successful. Putna was neither a devotee nor a non devotee. She was actually a demonic witch instructed by Kamsa to kill Krishna. Kamsa to kill Krishna. Nonetheless, in the beginning, she assumed the form of a very beautiful woman and approached Krishna exactly like an affectionate mother, so that Mother Yashoda and Rohini did not doubt her sincerity. The Lord took all this into consideration, and thus she was automatically promoted to a position like that of a Mother Yashoda. As explained by Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur, there are various roles one may play in such a position. Putna was immediately promoted to Vaikuntha Loka, which is also sometimes described as Swarga. The Swarga mentioned in this verse is not the material heavenly planet but the transcendental world. In Vaikuntha Loka, Putna attained the position of a nurse, Dhatri Uchitam, as described by Uddhava. Putna was elevated to the position of a nurse and made servant in Goloka Vrindavan to assist Mother Yashoda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so what happened is that now in the previous verse we saw that in Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, right, that what happens if this happened to a demon who came to kill Krishna, what happens to those who showed parental affection, who showed love to the Supreme Lord as mother, right, who had maternal affection for the Supreme Lord? In the next category with that kind of affection like a mother were the cows of Vrindavan, right? So because they were very happily offering the milk to Krishna, and this actually what would have been of them? So they for them also they have actually attained the position of mother. So anyone who actually has that maternal affection for the Supreme Lord can attain the position of mother in the transcendental world, right? In the case of Putana, though brief, we see the consequence, right? And this happens that one. it is like Srila Prabhupada says, it is one is elevated or promoted to the position of mother, and Putana actually after she was killed and she left her material body, she actually went to Vaikuntha Loka. The verse says Swarga, but Swarga is not heavenly planets. So that is why it is said that whatever is there in the scriptures, you need to hear through the disciplic succession or through bona fide representative of the uh, acharyas, right? So either through the acharyas in the disciplic succession or his or their bona fide representatives. Otherwise, there is a great danger that one might understand that for what Putana has done, the maternal affection that she has exhibited, she was promoted to heavenly planets, which is not the case. She actually went to Vaikuntha Loka, right? She went to the transcendental world and she actually got a position of a mother or a nurse. So that is what happened to her. So and this is confirmed by Uddhava that she actually got the position of nurse and maid servant in Loka Vrindavan to assist Mother Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda. So this is that is the kind of elevation or position that was obtained by Putana, right? So this is this is for the service that was she was not totally doing with the right kind of intention, but just for that service, this is what happened to Putin. Okay, yeah, we'll continue. Can someone read the translation in purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I continue, Mataji?
Please, Hare Krishna.
Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The
Jai.
Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is the bestower of many benedictions, including liberation, Kaivalya, or oneness with the Brahmanas' effulgence. For that personality of Godhead, the gopis always felt maternal love, and Krishna sucked their breast with full satisfaction. Therefore, because of their relationship as mother and son, although the gopis were engaged in various family activities, one should never think that they returned to the material world after leaving their bodies. Purport. The advantage of Krishna consciousness is described herein. Krishna consciousness gradually develops on the transcendental platform. One may think of Krishna as the Supreme Personality. One may think of Krishna as the Supreme Master. One may think of Krishna as the Supreme Friend. One may think of Krishna as the Supreme Son. Or one may think of Krishna as the Supreme Conjugal Lover. If one is connected with Krishna in any of these transcendental relationships, the course of one's material life is understood to have already ended, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Tvaktva daham punarjanam nematimam iti. For such devotees, going back home, back to Godhead, is guaranteed. Na punaha kalpite rajan samsaro jan- Jnanana Sambhavaha. This verse also guarantees that devotees who constantly think of Krishna in a particular relationship will never return to this material world. In this material world of samsara, there are same relationships. One thinks, here is my son, here is my wife, here is my lover, or here is my friend. But these relationships are temporary illusions. Ajnana Sambhavaha. Such a consciousness revived, sorry, such a consciousness awakens in ignorance. But when the same relationships awaken in Krishna consciousness, one's spiritual life is revived and one is guaranteed to return home back to Godhead. Even though the gopis who were friends of Rohini and Mother Yashoda and who allowed their breast to be sucked by Krishna were not directly Krishna's mother, they all had the same chance as Rohini and Yashoda to go back to Godhead and act as Krishna's mother in laws. servants, and so on. The word samsara refers to attachment for one's body, home, husband, or mother in law, servants, and so on. The word samsara, sorry, or wife and children. But although the gopis and all other inhabitants, Vrindavan had the same affection and attachment for husband and home. Their central affection was for Krishna in some transcendental relationship, and therefore they were guaranteed to be promoted to Goloka Vrindavan in the next life to live with Krishna eternally in spiritual happiness. The easiest way to attain spiritual elevation, to be liberated from this material world, and to go back home, back to Godhead, is recommended by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Krishnera samsara karachati annachara. One should give all his sinful activities and remain in the family of Krishna. Then one's liberation is guaranteed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, if we see this particular verse, um, it is said that the gopis were engaged in various family activities. So all of us are grihasthas. We are practicing devotional service, but we are also engaged in various family activities. One has to go to work to sustain the family. One has to cook to kind of sustain the family. One has to clean to keep the household clean. So there are a lot of household activities one is doing. Uh, Alongside from the gopis, we can actually take inspiration as to how they had kept Krishna at the center. You know, how is that they had kind of developed that relationship with Krishna, right? So while Devaki Ma gave birth, Yashodama raised him as mother. Rohini Ma was also there as a mother with lot of maternal affection. The gopis also acted out of maternal affection. The gopis also acted out of maternal affection, and it felt like though they had lots of family activities and they were engaged. Just give me one moment, sorry. So, So, though the gopis were engaged, the word that is used in this verse is samsara. So they were engaged in these activities, which like the householder, any householder, any grihastha will be engaged in activities. They had a family, so there could be some kind of family bonds that are there, right? So, despite of all this, the kind of affection and the kind of service they were rendering to the Supreme Lord, they also attained motherly positions in the spiritual world, uh, right? So that is what happens. So now this is also in the verse. It is said that Krishna can actually give any kind of benediction, right? He is the bestower of benediction, so he can give any kind of benediction, right, including oneness with the Brahman effulgence. So if we understand the cause for all of our existence is actually Brahman, and the foundation for Brahman is Krishna himself. So it is like this, that to understand this relationship with Krishna, Brahman, and the Jivatma, the living entity, is like uh, understanding how a person is seated on the chair. So if the person seated on the chair is, you can imagine them to be the Jivatma, and the chair is like Brahman. So the chair or the Brahman is supporting the existence of the Jivatma, and the Jivatma and the chair is on the flooring. So flooring is like Krishna. So this is how the Brahman, the Jivatma, and Krishna, are, right? So Krishna is the foundation of Brahman, and Brahman is the foundation for the existence of all living beings. So modern science uh, has said that out of living entities, there is a photon of light that is being emitted, right? This is actually the field of energy around a living entity. So like that, when all living beings have this field of energy, or those photons of light around them, similarly there is this light or effulgence around the supreme. So this effulgence is nothing but the Brahman effulgence, right? So the Lord can give lot of benedictions. If someone just wants to be one with the Brahman effulgence, that is a possibility too. The Lord can also give benediction which elevates one to be related to the Supreme Lord. Every um the risk with actually have receiving benediction of oneness with the Brahman effulgence is that there is a possibility of fall down, right? So it is not a fixed up position. Unless one goes beyond the Brahman realization and one does devotional service, there is a great risk of fall down from one's position, right? So that is why one should more though the benediction of oneness with oneness with Brahman or the Brahman realization is very much there, and some aspire for that. That is surely not the goal, or that should not be the end to one's practice, because devotional service is much higher, because it is a kind of a fixed up position, right? And this is what is demonstrated by the gopis of Vrindavan. And it is also um, when in one of my visits to Vrindavan, I was visiting one of the temples, and in that temples, some Matajis, they are basically from Rajasthan, I think, they were singing of folklore. They were singing one kind of a kirtan. They were all of them. They were about 15, 20 Matajis. They were singing this kirtan, and I was like, uh, I was drawn to their singing, right? All of them quietly sitting in one corner and then singing this kirtan. Uh, it really interested me when they were singing. It was some kind of Hindi version they were singing, and they were praying to the Supreme Lord, and they were saying, Lord, I don't know, from the time I get up in the morning, I'm actually cleaning the house, I'm sweeping the house, I'm cooking, I'm making chapatis, I'm taking care of my family, I'm doing this for my children. All these things I'm doing, I have no time actually really to maybe do anything for you. So that is the kind of song with lot of humility. They're praying to the Supreme Lord. So the Lord, it is uh, I felt very inspired as to how despite their householder activities, they longed for devotional service of the Lord. That longing is right, that is very dear. That longing for the devotional service of the Lord, uh, and this is what they're singing when they came. Finally, they came to do kirtan. Finally, they came to the temple. They're doing this kirtan. They're singing this song where they're longing for the devotional service of the Lord. So the gopis actually are wonderfully demonstrating, right, how our mood should be, how we should actually see this devotional service and this practice while we are caught up with so many things. We have family relationships, and how should it be? Because at the end of the day, or actually if we understand, every soul has an eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. There's an eternal relationship, and we have a certain rasa with the Supreme Lord, right? We are related through certain kind of rasa. It can be parental affection, it can be sakya rasa, it can be like friendship, it can be conjugal. So there is this rasa and eternal relationship with the Lord, and one has to actually revive this relationship while one is executing their devotional service, one is executing their grihastha activities and householder activities. One has to execute one has to kind of regain this lost relationship. We have lost that relationship. We have to regain that. And when one actually regains that lost relationship, one actually gets elevated to the spiritual world. So that is what we have to understand. And that is the process in which we can slowly go back, attain liberation and go back to the spiritual world. Okay. Next verse. Yeah. Does someone want to read? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
Upon smelling the fragrance of the smoke emanating from the Putna's burning body, many inhabitants of Vrajbhumi in distant places were astonished. Where is this fragrance coming from? They
Somebody is
asked.
reading.
Thus, they went to the spot where Putna's body was being burnt. Purport: the aroma of the smoke emanating from a burning fire is not always very favorable. Therefore, upon smelling such a wonderful fragrance, the inhabitants of Raja were astonished. Hare Krishna.
So, in one of the verses, it was mentioned, right, that Putana's body was made into smaller pieces with axes, and it was taken to a far off distance, and there they burnt it with wood. So this fragrance, when it started coming to the nearby villages, and a lot of people started wondering, where is this fragrance coming from, right? So sometimes this is a common thing. Sometimes when we get kind of smells, right? So like for example, when I hear the smell of plastic burning, as an electrical engineer, first instinct that I get is that is any wire or cable burning, right? So depending on our experiences, we wonder where is the smell coming from, right? So someone like mothers and those who cook, they are like, when they get smells, they wonder what is being cooked, who is cooking, what is being cooked, right? What are the spices that are used and things like that. So these kind of the smells are the fragrance, the aroma was so very prominent that the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi, they were like surprised, what is this wonderful kind of fragrance, where is it coming from, right? And then they went to check what is this fragrance coming from, right? So sometimes we also want to, if it's like we want to understand where is this fragrance coming from. So they went to check the fragrance, and they saw it is emanating from the burning of Putana's body. Yeah, we'll continue. Hare Krishna. Translation.
Hare Krishna
Yes,
Mataji. Shall I
Mataji.
read? Shall I read?
Please, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mataji. Please read.
Text 42. Translation. When the inhabitants of Raja, who had come from distant places, heard the whole story of how Putana had come and then been killed by Krishna, they were certainly astonished, and they offered their blessings to the child for his wonderful deed of killing Putana. Nanda Maharaj, of course, was very much obliged to Vasudeva, who had foreseen the incident and simply thanked him, thinking how wonderful Vasudeva was.
Yeah. So a
Text
lot of people, yeah, so a lot of inhabitants from far distances actually had come to know of the pastimes of Krishna killing Putana. And when they heard of the glories of the Supreme Lord, as to how he killed such a fierce dimness, so they were all like very like happy. They were astonished because it's not a normal feat, right? For normal beings, any normal grown up adult also to do. Imagine Krishna being a baby, for him to actually do this. So they were all astonished, and then they offered blessings to Krishna.
right? So out of happiness and out of uh, as a response to this hearing of the pastimes, they offered blessing to Krishna. And Nanda Maharaj was crossing this, and he actually felt grateful to Vasudev, right? So because he had warned him of what could come about, and he was actually grateful. He was feeling grateful, and he was feeling like very obliged, because he it is a form of support or help that he received in the form of that warning, and he was he felt thankful uh, for Vasudev, and he was also thinking how wonderful Vasudev is to have actually had this understanding, to be able to know that there is a danger that is imminent, it's going to come. Okay, let's move on. Verse 43. Does someone want to read?
Shall I continue,
Mataji.
Mataji?
Yeah, please, Mataji. Thank you.
O Maharaja Parikshit, best of the Kurus, Nanda Maharaja was very liberal and simple. He immediately took his son Krishna on his lap, as if Krishna had returned from death, and by formally smelling his son's head, Nanda Maharaj undoubtedly enjoyed transcendental bliss. Purport. Nanda Maharaja could not understand how the inhabitants of his house had allowed Putana to enter the house, nor could he imagine the gravity of the situation. He did not understand that Krishna had wanted to kill Putana and that his pastimes were performed by Yogamaya. Nanda Maharaj simply thought that someone had entered his house and created havoc. This was Nanda Maharaja's simplicity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, uh, then afterwards, how Nanda Maharaj is further crossing this side. So, Nanda Maharaj is very simple-hearted, very plain-hearted, and he's very liberal. Since he was not there when the pastime happened, when Putna actually uh, took a deceptive form. He, from the large, ugly demoness she was, she transformed into a very beautiful looking young damsel. Uh, and then she had come with the sole purpose to kill Krishna. So Nanda Maharaj and some of the cowherd men, they were absent, or they were not there when this happened. So Nanda Maharaj was not fully, um, comprehending, how serious it could be uh, when such a deceptive demoness, such a powerful deceptive demoness who had a very bad track record of killing small children, could had actually entered the household um, unobstructed, right? So that was not what Nanda Maharaj was perceiving much, because of his simple and plain heartedness, right? So when someone is very simple, plain hearted, they kind of take things very simply. They don't overcomplicate, they don't over imagine, they don't kind of see things very grossly perhaps, and complicate things, right? So this is exactly what Nanda Maharaj was doing. He simply just took Krishna in his lap, and he was showering his affection by actually smelling the forehead of Krishna, like a father would smell the forehead of the son. Like that, he was very gently, kind of showering his affection, and in return he's receiving transcendental bliss, because the object here is the supreme personality of Godhead himself, right? So it is for such it is actually great happiness and transcendental bliss. See, sometimes when we do some service for the Lord, devotees, we experience some kind of bliss and happiness. Imagine Nanda Maharaj, he's actually uh, showering his affection, he's actually smelling the forehead of the Supreme Lord himself. So, amount of transcendental bliss and the kind of happiness he was experiencing. And just this is this is how a very simple person like Nanda Maharaj perceives it. Beyond this, Srila Prabhupada explains that these are some inconceivable, pastimes of the Supreme Lord, which are actually performed by Yogamaya, that is the Shakti of the Supreme Lord, and it is like a very higher philosophy, or something way more complicated to understand the Shakti of the Supreme Lord, and how these pastimes were happened, right? Performed, right? So that much of um, you know you know complexity, or much beyond what Nanda Maharaj perceived was happening actually. Okay, text 44. Yeah. Does someone want to read the translation in purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Jai
Hare
Sri
Krishna.
Prabhupada. Uh,
Jai.
Translation: any person who hears with faith and devotion about how Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, killed Putana, and who thus invests his hearing in such childhood pastimes of Krishna, certainly attains attachment for Govinda, the Supreme Original Person. Purport: the incident in which the great witch attempted to kill the child but was killed herself is certainly wonderful. Therefore, this verse uses the word Adbhutam, meaning specifically wonderful. Krishna has left us many wonderful narrations about him. Simply by reading these narrations, as they are described in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one gains salvation from this material world and gradually develops attachment to and devotion for Govinda Adipurusha. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the 10th canto, 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Killing of the Demon Putana.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So this is like what happens, right? So two parts are there to this verse. One is that it is a wonderful pastime for us to hear as to how Krishna killed a great witch, right? So it is a wonderful pastime. And what happens when we hear to the pastimes of the Lord, right? So when we keep hearing about the pastimes of the Lord, especially the childhood pastimes of the Lord, one gradually develops attachment to the Supreme Lord. So Govinda, so one gradually continues to develop attachment. So I always thought, that there is this one believes in God, one does not believe in God. Right? There is faith in God. We don't have faith in God. So a lot of atheistic people are there who said God is not there. There are people who say, oh, yeah, God is there, right? But for people who don't believe God is there, for people who believe God is there, the kind of it is not absolute. There is a percentage of that belief, right? So for me, right now, I am practicing. Say, for example, I'm like now I'm practicing bhakti. I'm a sadhaka bhakta, and I have certain faith in the Lord. It's not it's not zero or one. It is not complete 100%, or it is not zero, right? So it is to a very degree. As one hears to these pastimes of the Lord, the continuous hearing is purifying our hearts, and our faith gets strengthened, right? And our attachment to the Supreme Lord gets strengthened. Say, for example, now today I'm at 10% faith. Yeah, I know Krishna is there, Krishna is Supreme Lord, God is there, because someone has created this wonderful universe. And my mother said, God is there. My mother said, God is there. So I have some 10% faith. Then tomorrow I'm hearing from the spiritual master. Spiritual master is telling, and I'm hearing the purification process. And then the faith is going about, like, 15%, 20%, like that, the faith is growing, right? And uh, the third day, I'm actually doing things which are not favorable to my bhakti, right? Somehow it kind of starts weakening my faith. it starts weakening my faith uh, to a certain degree, depending on the activities and the people I associate. So it is a faith or, bhakti weakening process. So that is why it is said we should do activities favorable to bhakti gradually. But here in this verse, especially, it is said that when one actually hears, um, is invests in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, especially the childhood pastimes of the Lord, is actually developing attachment for Govinda. So that attachment or the faith keeps on growing. And then after that grows, after a stage, one actually goes to the position where one gets to know their eternal relationship with Krishna. One gets liberated and goes back to his abode. Okay, so that is what happens. And Putana, the pastime which involves killing Putana is like wonderful narration of what the Supreme Lord can do, what the Supreme Lord can give, what the devotees, like the gopis, the cows, Mother Yashoda, um, what they all, received, for their unalloyed devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So, what is that they received, and how, even when the Supreme Lord says, even little of devotional service can actually yield lot of benefits, right? So, how it is a possibility, right? So, this particular chapter is a wonderful kind of understanding in that direction. So with this, we it ends the sixth chapter, um, titled "The Killing of the Demon Putana." Okay, so we the discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam for today ends here. But if anyone has any specific questions, any realizations, or any thoughts on what we have discussed, or this whole pastime of about Putana being killed, right? Please do share. Please do ask. Yeah. Any questions, discussions?
Mataji, I have one
Yes.
question.
Sure,
Uh,
Prabhu.
like Putana was a demon, and like in her previous life, she was a good person, like she was a daughter or a sister of Bali Chakravarti, right? So that's why she had a good past history. That's why she was being liberated. But like we in sense like I mean we are normal people, so we don't know what it is. So do we have chance of liberation?
Prabhuji, actually, what happened with Putana in the previous birth also as Ratnamala, when she saw the Lord as Vaman Dev, she had developed a lot of great affection. See, it is like this. We see a small child. We feel like suddenly we feel so nice. We feel like, let us lift that child, let us cuddle, let us kiss that little child. We have this kind of thoughts coming in. Whom she saw was the Supreme Lord himself as Vamandev. So she had these feelings. It was not that she was a good person totally or she was a devotee totally. She also, in that birth also, she was born in the demon family, right? Bali Maharaj was in the demon family, though he's a Mahajan. And so she was in a demon family. There is no account that I heard of that she was a devotee or she was very favorable to devotional service. It's just that instinct or that sudden thought, that she had to kind uh, of a mother towards a child, that affection, that maternal affection, she suddenly that she got just by seeing the form of the Lord is what actually qualified her to actually get that form as a mother, where she breastfed Krishna as Putana, and then after that she got liberation. So it is not because she was a devotee, Prabhuji. And in our case, we are all practicing devotees. So we are actually much fortunate, I should say, because of the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas in the Brahma Madhva Gaur Parampara. We are all very, very fortunate. We got to be very, very fortunate to be actually hearing about Krishna from the scriptures through the Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing that all of you are attending this morning and doing various devotional services at the center and at home, right? So we just got very, very fortunate. And why one gets fortunate is also sometimes very hard to explain, because just as Krishna appears by his own will, even one gets bhakti like that. uh, Bhakti Devi is like the uh, potency of Krishna. It is the energy of Krishna that also comes by its own, her own sweet will. So it is hard to explain, but we are definitely, I think, much fortunate, Prabhuji, and we should think ourselves to be much fortunate, and we are definitely, there is a possibility, like Srila Prabhupada says, just a just a moment is enough for one to get liberated when one executes devotional service, right? So I I I think we can all be very hopeful.
Hare
Yeah, go
Krishna
ahead,
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna Mataji.
Hare
One
Krishna,
thing,
Mataji.
what I've experienced or what I've heard is, we should think always Krishna should be in the center of all our activities, no matter it is material, no matter it is spiritual. Just like that,
Mhm,
as we are giving birth to our child, we should think that we are
mhm,
giving birth to Krishna. Then really
mhm,
we will have divine feeling. When we are preparing food, we are though
mhm,
we are
mhm,
preparing for our children, first we will offer to Krishna. Though we should think that we are preparing this for Krishna. This Krishna, this is for you. You have to make this tasty. That day it will be really very tasty. And we are playing with the children, our children only. Then we are playing with Krishna. We should bring Krishna in all the circumstances and in all our activities. Then really it will be very divine and divine. And as you say, we can progress in our spiritual thought or spiritual activity or anything. That's what I feel. And it was said in one our pravachan also here. We should think of God in all our aspects. Though it is anything, we are going to some hospital or some house, we should think that we are going to some Tirtha Yatra. There is Krishna, we are going. So that thought, no, the very thought, the divine thought, makes us go to Krishna or what to say, that spiritual life will be very nice, and we can improve, or we can have a better feeling like that. That's what my
Thank you so much,
reflection.
Mataji. Wonderful sharing. Wonderful sharing. What Mataji said rightly, that we have to see Krishna in everything, in everyone, and in all activities. So that is the consciousness one should develop. So sometimes what happens is, personally, when I think, right, sometimes I get troubled by certain people. It's by, maybe by their activities, and may not be. It's not about that person. Maybe it's their activities, right? So, but if I had the consciousness to see Krishna in everyone, I would be more accepting to what happened, or any misdeed that was done, and I would not have hatred, or I would not harbor negative feelings to that person, right? So even that also helps us to deal with those negative emotions that we might tend to kind of develop against people, right? So that can also be offset to a certain extent when we kind of consciously try to, develop this thought that Krishna is there in everyone, and Krishna is like, as Paramatma, we know Krishna is there in everyone, and all activities are centered around Krishna. So that is actually a wonderful thought, Mataji. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Anyone else who want to say something or have any questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Thank you for the class, Mataji.
Dhanvat. Dhanvat.
Yeah, I especially like the point about the fragrance of Putana. Even though she was such a man-eater, demoniac person, by the simple touch of Krishna, she became so fragrant. So that was very hope-giving for me today morning. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Yeah. If there are no more questions, Padma Mataji, want to say something?
No.
Please.
Thank you, Mataji. It was very nice class. And
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna,
Thank you.
Mataji, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Yeah. Shilpa Mataji, I think we've come to an end.
Yes,
Um,
Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Then
much,
we'll
Mataji. Hare
conclude,
Krishna.
Mataji. Thank you so much. Panchakalpatarupyascha kripa sindhu bhyo pattanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo Shri Kripa ki jai. Guru Vaishnav ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
I'll end the session, Mataji, here.
Thank you, Mataji.